Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Notre Dame 2. Notre Dame, if you're American, and you need to say all the letters a different way than the rest of the world. So, yeah, The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, a sequel. This is a direct-to-video sequel. I do not believe this was in theaters. There was a time in the early 2000s when Disney decided, hey, you know what? Home video is pretty hot. Before it becomes not hot, let's put out all of our videos and make money on the sales of these DVDs and what's left of VHS. And they did that. They did that with a lot of their properties, a lot of their classic stuff, a lot of their Renaissance era stuff, a lot of their post-Renaissance era stuff. It felt like a cash in. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, but yeah. I guess when you have all these properties, characters that people love, why not make a sequel? Because odds are they're going to want to see more stories. And this is before the time they started the trend of making everything into live action, even though most of the characters are digitally animated, like Jungle Book or Lion King. So what we do is we get actually the entire cast back together again. I can't think of anybody else that's missing. We get a few new actors that you might recognize joining the cast since the sequel. But Tom Hulce is back as Quasimodo. We get Demi Moore as Esmeralda, Kevin Kline as Phoebus. It's Phoebus. If you're going to say it like Phoenix, it'd be Phoebus. It's Phoebus? Phobos? I don't know. I don't remember anybody saying his name out loud, so I don't have a reference. So if you know the way it's pronounced, feel free to leave a comment. I'm cool with it. I don't know everything, and I just either wasn't paying attention or yeah. So this is from 2002. It's an hour and 10 minutes long, but in reality, it's an hour long because the last 10 minutes are credits. 5 of them are the main credits with the theme, with music, a romantic song at the end over the scrolling credits, and then the foreign credits, which are the last 5 minutes. So literally, this is just an hour. And they made them not worthy of major motion picture release level stuff. By making them so short, they just were never going to happen. That was never going to happen. It's a story that's not necessarily overly complicated enough to the point that it would need an hour and a half. Certainly not 2 hours. I wonder why this hasn't been made into, or the original one has not been made into a live action film yet. I don't know. There's a lot of just sort of weird, touchy elements to it. And how do you depict this in real life? Here you can exaggerate it with animation and almost forgive it because it's animation. And Quasimodo is pretty much just a normal guy. He looks different. He sounds and sings and speaks like any other normal guy who doesn't have a hunchback. He has a great voice, just a fantastic voice. He's got the pipes and everything. He's a hunchback. He doesn't look like everybody else. And the main thing is, he's hot for Esmeralda in the first one. He realizes that's not going to happen, and so, she ends up with Phoebus. They have a kid, by the way, in this, named Zephyr. Yeah, you're going to name your children Zephyr. It's France. Why? Zephyr? Is that French? I don't know. But he's played by Haley Joel Osment. Yeah, the kid from Sixth Sense and everything that he's done over the years. He was in a bunch of different shows, but he doesn't look like he does in this. He was in AI, the Steven Spielberg movie from way back when that was originally a Stanley Kubrick film. He's Silicon Valley. He was in Silicon Valley. I remember seeing him in that. He was really good in that. But yeah, the little kid from Sixth Sense who sees dead people is the son of Esmeralda in this. And he gets into a little bit of trouble with a goat that he wants to join the circus because, hey, you know what? The circus is in town, and it's a cover for the crime syndicate in a sense. The guy, Susei, I forget how you say his name, Sarouche. Sarouche is played by Michael McKean, from this is Spinal Tap and the Breaking Bad spinoff, Better Call Saul, played Saul's brother. He's been in everything. He was Lenny in from Lenny and Squiggy in Laverne and Shirley. If you're going to go that far back, but he plays a very devilish, maniacal. He has a great voice for that kind of thing, for a bad guy, and he has an assistant, a very beautiful assistant. She is what is her name? Her name is Why is there so many consonants in this? Madeleine. The print is very small. Her name's Madeleine, but it's played by Jennifer Love Hewitt. If you know her from stuff. She's done a lot of stuff. She hasn't done a ton of stuff recently, but she's done a lot of stuff, especially in the 90s. But yeah, her name is Love. So Jennifer Love Hewitt. Lovely young woman, and she plays a lovely young woman in this who is an assistant to the evil guy, who I'm going to mispronounce, the evil guy, and he uses her as a distraction, his assistant. And as a good magic trick that happens in a circus, you need distraction in order to get the people looking where they should be looking while they pick your pocket somewhere else. So, yeah, she's kind of part of that, and he gets her to. I'm not going to tell you the whole. I'm not going to tell you the whole plot, but for me to tell you there's a part of it, seems like I'm telling you the whole thing. I know. She is given the job of trying to get access to the giant, beautiful golden bell with jewels and everything inside of it for some reason, on top of Notre Dame. That's a thing. Yeah, it's being rung. Quasimodo's in charge of it. Everybody's cool with him. He's not a monster to them. He is, he gets his friends visiting, gargoyle buddies featuring Jason Alexander from Seinfeld is one of the gargoyles again. They're all, he has a family of friends now, and it's kind of great. But he's kind of lonely, especially when they decide it's France. Hey, it's France, it's Paris. They're going to have a festival of love, or a holiday d'amour, basically. And that means everybody who's in love needs to proclaim the name of the person they love, and then the person they love who loves them says their name out loud. And he rings a bell, but he's never going to be taking part of that because he's a monster. And you know what? It's a touchy situation when it comes to believability in a live action film. In an animated film, maybe not so much. And it's not saying that he can't, that he couldn't. He does find love, and that's kind of great. But it's a lesson. It's kind of like yesterday's movie, where it shows when you have the guy who's a little bit, either through his own means or through circumstances, he's unlikable and he doesn't want to be liked, or acts like he doesn't want to be liked or loved. But yet, when he's so hard-edged, or he's so shut off from society like Quasimodo, that the idea of being in love is just awful. But when you show him, when somebody notices him from afar, that he's kind to his little brother, in this case, kind to Esmeralda's son, and they're best buddies, and it's Madeleine notices this, and she sees something special in him that she's not seen in anybody else, because she's always been with this horrible man since she was 6. I don't know how old she is now, but I'm thinking she's an adult. I'm hoping she's an adult. If she's choosing to live in Notre Dame with the Hunchback by the end of the film. Sorry, spoilers. Like you didn't know that was coming. But hopefully she's not like a 13-year-old orphan who's just like, you know what, I'm sick of that old abusive guy. I'm going to hang out with this guy in a church. So I imagine she's an adult who can make her own choices, and I mean, France in the 18th century or whatever this is, probably earlier, the rules were completely different when it came to adulthood and children's rights and everything else. But still, the idea is that both Esmeralda and Madeleine are the princesses, the Disney princesses that never were. You never really get, by the way, we never get to see Esmeralda in the cluster of princesses most of the time, mainly because she's an adult and not a teenager making bad choices or having choices thrust upon her by others, putting her up in a tower or something like that. She's choosing to go to a tower, inside a tower by the end of this, with a guy she barely knows, but is sweet, and she sees who he is on the inside. And when he believes he can't trust her, because he believes she's in on the mission to steal the bell through magic tricks, illusion. Well, he believes he can't trust her. He doesn't think that the person he finds on the outside is as beautiful on the inside because she's betrayed him. Yeah, but she proves herself, and they live very happily ever after because they didn't make a third one to tell us that story. It's another one they're not going to make. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's not that it shouldn't or couldn't, or they would, to write these things would just be really difficult for some people. It would be so much weird backlash that it's best to just not make it at all. Unless you could really knock it out of the park. And it might be possible, but this is not Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder trying to go for Oscars. Let's just say that. That is a deep cut reference that has nothing to do with this film. And it's shameful to make that comparison, but it's still the idea that no, I don't know if we're ever going to get a Hunchback of Notre Dame 3 animated, and probably not a live action because it's difficult to make. It shouldn't be, but it is. And also, when it comes to these made for DVD releases, made for VHS releases, they really skimp on the budget when it comes to animation. Not that it's bad, not that it's horrible, it is just not up to the snuff of the original. Like, you go into the theater and you know you're going to get major motion picture, box office release animation, and it's good. It's really good. And songs and everything else, it's great. This is, again, on a budget. Most of their money was probably spent to bring back every single one of the cast members from the original one, so there's no discontinuity in voices. But yeah. Oh, we got Kevin Kline, also Demi Moore, I just said earlier, Haley Joel Osment. There's just a lot. Jim Cummings, of course, shows up in this, and Frank Welker and April Winchell and everybody else who's ever done a cartoon voice. Well, they're going to show up in some way, even if it's just background noise. They're going to show up in these things. So yeah, this is an unnecessary sequel, but it kind of closes the book. It gives us a closure on saying that, hey, you know what? Quasimodo didn't get Esmeralda at the end, but you know what? He can still find love, and that's a fantastic thing. And people who are rooting for him, like, man, why didn't he get the girl? Well, he's got the girl. I'm just telling you right now, you can see it in the picture. There's a big spoiler right there. Yeah. So, yeah. And this is a musical, by the way. Yeah, I told you, I said that. This is, yeah. Again, there's a whole lot of those sequels that should have never been made, but there's a few that did really good. I believe the Mulan sequel was pretty good. Just have to check my previous reviews, but yeah, check this out only if you're a big fan of the Hunchback, the original Hunchback, and then you might still be disappointed. But again, I'm not saying that the people who made this are bad people. There's some creations that are out there that seem like abominations, but this is not one of them. It's just, you work with a lower budget, you put it out, and you make the money. Hopefully everybody made the money and we're happy with the work they did on this. So that's all I can say about that. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. I feel like I dug a hole for every second I talked about that. That's 208. Oh, dang it. Okay, remember the thing I told you about that about there's abominations out there? I haven't seen this film yet, but I already know I hate it. Why? I know I shouldn't prejudge these things, but this was going to happen sooner or later, and it's happening now. This is another entry into the series of the buddies. This time, the super buddies. Yeah. Little talking puppies with the digital talking mouths that I hate. The digital talking mouths. Puppies are cute. I love them so much. But digital talking puppy mouths just drive me crazy. And they're just all obnoxious. Yes, they're straddling genres, but I'll talk about this all tomorrow. Super Buddies is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.